I'm going to go boost it on Facebook. Okay. So now if I go here and I go here. Okay. So I got it. Okay, so we are live. So beware about your thoughts and your comments.
All right.
But let's give me 1 second. I'm gonna boost it really fast, and then we can get going here. Give me 1 second. Okay. So it looks like we're boosted. Okay, so we can just start and we'll get it going. All right. So wait, not the screen I want. Okay, so for all you Sports Network people that do not know, my name is Brandon. Yeah, I'm gonna introduce you guys. So my name is Brandon. Let's maybe turn that. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, now I turned my stream on. Okay. For all you Philly Sports Network people do not know, my name is Brandon Summerman. I have been on multiple times on the live with me, and tonight we're going to be introducing the two new writers that are working for us, and we're going to be doing a season preview for the 2017-18 season. We're going to be doing a little vote on the lines, how we're going to look at the aspects of the game, how we're looking at, and basically that's what we're going to do for now, and we're going to be able to watch you guys. If you guys have any comments, put them in the chat. We'll be able to answer them. But any one of you guys want to go first? Introduce yourself.
I'll go first. Go ahead. My name is Austin Mitchell. I'm an avid Flyers fan, and I can't wait to interact with you guys.
I'm Derek Bob. Started this about a month or so ago, I guess, and been a big Philadelphia Flyers fan my entire life, and this is it's been a lot of fun so far.
Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is how we're going to do this is basically I'm just going to have you two go at it, basically, for lines and stuff, and I'm going to be like the center guy, the third deciding vote if you two can't decide on something. We'll talk it out that way, but we're going to try to get a nice combo set of what lines we see happening to start the season, and different things like that. We'll be going through multiple different things like that. So to get started, where do you guys? I'm assuming it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. Do you guys both agree Giroux is going to be the first line center?
Yeah, Giroux. We've got. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's nobody that's going to take his place.
Are you in agreement with that, Austin?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm still a big Giroux supporter. I know there's a lot of Giroux haters out there.
Okay. I think down the road.
I think he's still elite. So he'll be our first line center, hands down.
Patrick.
Okay.
But right.
I think we're losing Derek.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Derek.
My connection might be a little crappy. I'm sorry.
So we already agreed on Giroux as first line center. Now what we're going to decide is who is going to be that. I guess let's just go down through the centers first, and then we'll figure out everybody up on the lines because there's a couple guys. I have about 15 forwards and about 9 or so defensemen that we can jump around with since they're all the prospects and everything. But who do you guys have as that second line guy?
That second line guy, Nolan Patrick. definitely. I think he's gonna come up, prove himself in camp, and he's our guy. He's our guy of the future, and I think they're gonna give him that big chance. If not the very beginning of the season, I think they'll bump him up within.
Do you agree with that, Derek?
Nice. Now that Braden Shen's gone as part of that Yori Laterra deal, the kid's got skills. I mean, I wanted Nico Hischier. I won't lie. I really wanted him because I feel that there's a plethora of centers that the Flyers have. But at the same time, it's like Nolan Patrick isn't that bad of a consolation prize. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that pickup. And I think down the middle, the Flyers are looking deeper than they have in a while.
Okay, so
I think the Nolan Patrick pickup was definitely it was one of those situations where I was a big Nico guy too. And then we picked up Nolan, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm relieved because I think he has the true talent. So I think he's going to be our hands down. He's our number one of the future, our number two now.
Perfect. So I guess we got our first two good centers down. All right. And then now for our third line center, I think we can all agree again that Couturier is going to be that third line center. Do you guys both agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. I think Coots was born as a third line center role. He's a good shutdown guy. I'm a big supporter of every Flyer, but as far as Coots goes, I have my doubts with him. But I think this is his year to really secure his role as that number 3 guy.
I think that on a third line role, he can definitely thrive. I think that after the year he had when he shut down guys like Crosby and Malkin in the playoffs, that added a lot of pressure to him. And I think he didn't necessarily fold under that pressure. But I think putting him in more of a limited role like he would be on the third line could help him thrive.
Okay, perfect. So I guess we're all in agreement with that again. They were probably the most 3 easiest picks on the forward side because that was literally almost every single writer has everybody right now with those 3 guys being that set. Now, the fourth line center position is going to be a little bit different. Now, I'm not going to say a name. I'm going to let you guys hash it out because – I mean, you could pick from if you want to put Filppula down there, but many people see him as a winger. You could put who else down there? You could get Mike Vecchione down there. You could get Scott Lawton down there. There's so many different picks. So, Austin, you want to take a shot at it first? Who you want to go with?
Yeah, I hate to go with the first guy you said, but I think Phillips is the guy. I think he's a good pivot piece. I think he makes plays. He might be in the twilight of his career, but I think that he's that guy. He can make the 2 guys next to him better, and I think he's our fourth line guy. I think he makes Coots better too. Being alone, always having that pressure.
I'm a Vecchione guy. I think that they brought him in for a reason. The kid. He played with Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere had a very essential part in recruiting him. They wouldn't have brought him in if they didn't have a plan for him. I think it's going to be a heck of a battle to watch between him and Lawton, battling it out for, if anything, even just a forward spot or just that one spot on the roster. But, you know, he's a grinder. He's going to get to the pucks. He's going to get to the dirty areas. And putting him in the center of the fourth line, that's what that's for. And, I mean, you've seen the fourth lines in the past with, you know, guys like Van de Velde, Belmar. Even last year, Weiss was on the fourth line too. It's going to be a grinding line, and I think Vecchione fits that role really well.
Okay, so here comes the first, the debate part. So the debate really part here is do you go with the younger guy that, you can let stay down there, he can form a nice line with a couple other pieces, or do you go with the veteran that knows what to do, but is he really a fourth line center? Filppula, he is a little bit older, but he does have a lot of skill, to find. So the only reason why I'm going to do this is because I think he's a better fit for a wing. I'm going to have to go with Derek here, and I'm going to put Mike Vecchione there. I'm sorry, Austin. I'll try to agree with you one time later down, but I feel like Filppula is going to have a better opportunity on a wing somewhere as a complementary player, because you can never have too many centers on your team. It's just that fit of you want more than one center on a line, and you need that on one line. and I see a line where we could actually put him that, you know, he helps somebody very dramatically on faceoffs if there need be two. So we're going to put Vecchione there. We're not trying to, you know, dish each other, but Vecchione's going to start there, and we'll figure out there. All right. So the next one is, where do you see that first line left wing? You know, you got Wheel, who played very well there last year at the end of the season after I came up after the second call-up in January. And, you know, then you can put Konechny up there, you know, that fast, pretty winger that line might need. Or you put up a bigger guy like, you know, Oscar Lindblom, who's not a prototypical first-line winger, but, you know, he's that big physical guy, you know, like when Simmons used to play up there. So, I mean, Derek, let's start with you this time. What do you think you see that first-line center being? I mean, left wing.
I see it being Konechny. I mean, the kid showed last year he's here to play. He's got the skill set similar to Giroux. I think that they meshed pretty well, and for a kid his age, I mean, he can play. And I think that putting him on a top line situation with Claude Giroux and the right winger that I'm sure we'll discuss later, I think he's in a position to thrive, and I think that that's his spot right there to lose.
What do you think, Austin?
All right, I give it to I mean, I wrote my first piece for this when I started doing this a couple weeks ago. I wrote my first piece on him. I gave it to Wheel. I think Wheel is absolutely the real deal, and I think he complements Giroux in a way that I think Konechny is very, very similar to Giroux in a lot of ways, and I think Wheel is more of like I just think he has a much different skill set than Giroux, so I think he can really complement G on the first line. I think he can make that jump into a legitimate. I know we made a huge deal out of him this year, and he got a lot of free agent interest, but I think he can make that jump into legitimate like first line status.
I agree with both of you. I could see them both up there. But this is where I got to go. Again, I got to go this time with Austin. I think Wheel showed a lot of potential there last year at the end of the season, where he was playing on average about 17 minutes a night. And, you know, he was having I guess you would say, a better opportunity presenting to itself, because really they brought him up just to see what he could do at the end of the year. And I believe if he didn't perform like he did, I don't think he would have got a contract, and I really don't think he would be here right now. And that would be one less forward for the Flyers to have, you know, a pain in the trouble in. But, you know, I really do believe that, you know, that is a big issue that could have happened and could have, you know, had a problem there is what would have happened if Jordan Wheel didn't perform like that. And, you know, it would have been one less guy for the Flyers to have on, you know, the logjam of forwards. But he really presented himself last year, and I really think that's a big opportunity for him to be on that first line left wing. So let's get right into it. Let's go to the opposite side. Let's go to first right wing. What do you think? Who wants to start? I'm not going to say any names. I think everybody knows who it is.
Yeah, it's Jake. It's Jake. It's not Simmer for me. It's Jake. I think when they were at their best together, I give it to Jake, because Jake and G, they work off each other. G, for me, he was never his best. He was his best when he had a big guy next to him to take that pressure off of him. He's shifty, want that physical pressure, and I think Jake is just a guy who plays with his hips. He's a guy who can go into the boards hard with people, and I think he's my guy. I love that. I love their chemistry.
The guy, I mean, ever since Voracek came into the Flyers system, he was the winger to Claude Giroux. I mean, Giroux had one of his best years ever centering a line of him and Jágr, two big guys. And, I mean, that's where he thrives. And I think that it'd be a travesty to take a guy like Voracek away from Giroux because of the way they work together so well. They've been on the same line essentially for, I mean, how many years now? They've got to stick together. They produce, they put points on, they put pucks in the net. I mean, they play really well off of each other, and that's your perennial right winger there on the top line.
Perfect. I think everybody agreed with that. I don't think there was any doubt that anybody didn't agree with that. But but I think that's a good spot for him. He's just got to perform, back to where he was performing back in like 2012, 2013, and a little bit in that 2014 season at the end of the season after he had that bad slump. I think he needs to get to that performance level, and that first line should be pretty smooth. So now let's get to the second line. Let's start on the right wing now. It was mainly, it was like you said, guys, it was a flip-flop last year between Simmons and Voracek. So this is going to be Nolan Patrick's first ever right winger in the NHL. Who do you think? I'm going to start with Derek.
I've got Lindblom, a new guy coming from Sweden. I think that being I'm almost positive he's a left-handed shot on the right wing. He belongs there. He said he could play both sides. So, it's interchangeable if he wants to play left wing and the other guy that I have at left wing move over to the right wing, it would work. But I think that Lindblom's impressed a lot of people within the organization, and I think that this is his year to step up like Konechny did last year. I think that Lindblom can make a great impression and have a really great second line with another newcomer like Patrick.
I think I lost him a little bit, but we got it. We got your pick.
Okay.
You're going in and out, but we got your pick. We got Lindblom. What do you think, Austin?
On the right wing on the second line, I got Wayne Simmons. I think nobody on this team can help the new guy, the new big name stand out like Wayne Simmons can. He is just so electric. Last season he was absolutely our best player, and I think what better opportunity for Nolan Patrick stepping into this league than playing with big, bad Wayne Simmons. He'll protect them. Not that Nolan Patrick needs protection, but a young guy, he could use that support. So I got Simmer through and through on that second line.
And I'm gonna have to agree with Austin here, mainly due to the fact that Lindblom is a NHL player. He is going to be a good NHL player. It's just the fit of where he needs to be in the NHL and his skills of where he was playing when he was in the Swedish Elite League. He scored all of those points being a third line winger. So he was more of like a checking side winger. He wasn't getting those first line minutes. He wasn't getting that first line opportunity. But he was having those opportunities to score, and he was taking advantage of them. Like he was on the PK, he was on the power play. And I really think that fits for a lower line level for him on the next line. I think we'll get into that now. But I'm going to have to go with Austin here, and I'm going to have to go with Simmons at that right winger. But let's get right into it. Let's get to that left side now. You want to start, Austin?
Yep. On that left side, I actually have Oscar Lindblom. I think he is a big body, and he's a scorer. And I just – in my head, it's put Nolan Patrick in a place to succeed, and why not give him two lethal weapons? And why not have that our first line is going to be such a utility line. That first line is going to be so good at doing everything. So why not give that second line just the scorer's edge and just let them lay the points on for us? Because we really we need that, especially at 5-on-5. So I think those guys can be really lethal 5-on-5 weapons.
All right, Derek, what do you got?
We essentially flip-flop there because I've got Simmons. It's with the top line being the way it is and nobody really being able to crack it, Simmons belongs right there. He needs to be a second line guy. He's a leader on that team, especially putting him into a role with two rookies with Nolan Patrick and Oscar Lindblom. You want a guy like that on that line to teach them the ways, and essentially too, being a big body, he's going to stick up for Patrick. He's going to stick up for Lindblom. He's not going to let other players take liberties with them. He's the kind of guy that's going to step up when he needs to step up and show these guys this is the NHL and this is how you play the game. And hopefully these guys need to learn from a guy like Simmons because that's invaluable experience.
So, I totally agree with you guys. I like that line. And when you start looking into that line exactly, is you start looking at the size. Lindblom is 6'2", almost 200 pounds. Patrick is 6'3", 220. Simmons is 6'4", I think it was like right around 185 last year. But that line is just big and physical. And that's a new aspect the NHL doesn't really have anymore, because the NHL really went to that speed combination over the years, where it's you mainly have speed on your team, not that that physical power. That physical power like the Flyers used to play. Was they have that goon, not really I wouldn't say the goon fourth line, but it more was like a, how would I say it, like a power punch fourth line that they wouldn't take anything for granted, and they would be out there creating energy line. And I really see that in that, but that energy line can actually score, and I really like that. So that's I like that line. I've been, everybody's been going back and forth about it, but I like that line. And I think there's a couple of interchangeable pieces down in the bottom that we're going to get into that can jump up into that line. And let's start with the third line left wing. Derek, you want to take a shot?
Third line left wing, it's going to be a little different. I had Wheel. The guy showed us last year he can play. There's no doubt about it. I've been a fan of this guy. I mean, ever since I played, I think it was NHL 13, I would trade for him every chance I could get. He's quick. He can put pucks in the net. He's a scorer. He led the AHL in scoring a few years back, I believe. He just needed his chance. And in Los Angeles, Sutter wasn't going to give him the chance. He was always a veteran kind of guy. And having the right situation surround him, he's going to benefit greatly from the opportunities he'll get, especially being centered by a guy like Sean Couturier, who can dish him the puck and get him those scoring chances.
What do you got there, Austin?
I got Konechny on that third line left wing. I think I know him and Jake really got a good connection going, so I totally understand throwing him on that first line with those two. But I think he's a good third line player. I think he will absolutely have the opportunity to move up in the lineup if he proves himself. But I like his production last year. I think he was really good. I'm really, really, really excited about Konechny. I mean, I wrote a piece on him already. He's a real deal. He's not going to. I don't think he's going to suffer from a sophomore slump. And I think with right next to Coots. I think Coots, like you said about Wheel. I think Coots is going to dish him that puck, and Konechny's he's got that grit. He's got that fire to where I think he's gonna be able to really throw that puck in the net and really finish for us. So I think he's going to make Coots better. Coots is going to make him better. I think they're really going to feed off each other.
All right, yeah, I agree with there a little bit, you guys. And I was flip flopping everybody, down towards the season now going on. It's like every single day I got a new line. But I really see that, like you said, that there's a lot of interchangeable pieces inside the Flyers lineup. And, I am going to go with Konechny there. I do agree because our Wheel's already on that first line. And I really see if that does happen, it really makes a statement that, they're trying to get Sean Couturier away from that true defensive role, and they're trying to unleash a little bit of his offensive skills. Because you're putting a speedy offensive guy in there that, had a little bit of trouble last year playing that defensive role. He would get caught out a couple times, and, he wouldn't get back. But then there was sometimes that he actually did get back, made some great plays. So, I mean, you do see that a little bit. He's got to get his two-way game going, but, his two-way game has got to complement his offensive side. And I think if you put him on a line with a little more defensive guys, and that's why I really want to see who you guys have on that right wing, I really think that, you can unleash this one guy and Travis Konechny on this line, and he can actually be a very big terror. So, Austin, let's start with you. Who do you got on the right wing over there?
On the right wing on the third line, I know he's an unpopular guy right now. Nobody really thinks he lived up to the hype, but I got Dale Weiss on that third line. I think you give him that opportunity. I think you give him at the start of the season, at least for me, you give it to Dale Weiss. You see what he does. You see if he can really revive himself, because Dale Weiss can finish and he can score and he's got hands, and they call him the Dutch Gretzky. So he can do it, but he definitely didn't do it last year. But I got faith in him. I do. I like him. He's got flow. He's the guy. I think he's going to be good next to Coots right there. I think it's going to really make that third line. They're going to be responsible, but they're going to be capable too.
I like it. Derek, what do you got?
I do like that pick. When you put it that way, I can see it. I went a different route, kind of. I took Filppula. Obviously, minus Simmons, that was the line. But, I mean, having a guy like Filppula, it's been a while since I've seen a guy that can dish the puck like Filppula. His shots, I mean, he's got He's got a terrible wrister, in my opinion, just my opinion. But the guy knows how to dish the puck. He knows where to put it, tape to tape. I mean, it's just it looked incredible just in the games that I saw last year of him being able to dish the puck to guys like Simmons, guys like Coots. I mean, it was great. And I think that I like Jordan Will, who will more than likely be the scorer on that line, he's going to benefit immensely from two guys like Couturier and Filppula being able to dish him the puck.
Perfect. Yeah. And this is a little hard for me. You know, this is, you know, I really saw Wheel as like a Weiss is like a fourth line guy. And that role playing guy, you know, like when Ron Hextall, you know, signed him and told everybody that, you know, he was here to be that role playing guy, you know, that could be really anywhere, that, you know, he could step into any line and play to his ability. But like you said, Austin, you know, he did play really, that line of Weiss, Schenn, and Couturier right at the end of the season last year was very, very good. That's when Weiss went on that little bit of a tear. He had 5 goals right at the end of the season there. And, you know, Schenn was having a really good stretch. That's when Schenn started improving his 5-on-5 play. And I really like that, you know, that Konechny and Schenn are like almost the same type of, you know, not like exact same player, but, you know, they're both offensive type guys. I could see that, but I'm going to have to go with Filppula here, mainly because, you know, you do need that little bit of a setup guy. And this is where I was talking about that, you know, you need that one guy that can help. And, you know, this is going to be the line that you went out there. Yes, Konechny's probably not going to be with them. They're probably going to have maybe somebody from the fourth line or maybe a Wayne Simmons that moves down to play with them, like Wayne was doing a lot last year. Wayne was playing in that like the last couple minutes of the game. And I really think that, you know, Filppula gives this line an extra edge. You know, if Couturier can't get the faceoff win, or I think Filppula from he's a right-handed shot, I believe, or he might be I can't remember exactly, but he can win a faceoff from one side. Like, he's almost a perfect guy for the one side. And, you know, if they need that, I think that's there. And I think that's why I'm going to go with him there as the third line right wing. So now that we got the top 9 done, we're going to go back through them. I just want to explain to everybody what they were so everybody knows they can catch up. Our first line is Wheel, Drew, and Voracek. Our second line is Lindbaum, Patrick, and Simmons. Our third line is Konechny, Couturier, and Filppula. And as of right now, we have Mike Vecchione in the center of the fourth line. We did all centers first. So on the fourth line, we have Mike Vecchione in the middle. And now when we're going to start here going to the end, we are going to go through now who we have left here. And the names that I wrote down, and we have a couple, you know, surprises that are still sitting here, you know, being that fourth line guy that, you know, there's only 2 spots left there. We're going to be on that opening right roster. And there's a couple guys, there's about 3 or 4 guys that can actually really be in this lineup. And I'm going to give you the 5 names that are actually on the Flyers roster right now that could actually have a really good chance. And we're going to have to figure out which 2 are going to be in here. And those 5 guys are Raffl, Laterra, Reed, Weiss, and Mark. So let's figure this out. Derek, let's start with you. Who do you have on your fourth line left wing?
Fourth line left wing, I went Weiss. I think that he's a bigger guy. I think he would fit that grinder mentality that a fourth line in Philadelphia needs. Weiss is, I mean, you said it before, just recently here. He had a great stretch at the end of the year last year where I think you said he had 5 goals. So he can score. And, you know, the fourth line's been it's been able to contribute the past couple of years. And I think that having a guy of Weiss's talent and
I think we lost him.
beneficial it hit him, a guy like that who's that's just, I feel like, belongs right there on the left wing of the fourth line.
Okay. Austin, what do you got on there?
We're talking left wing right now, right?
Left wing on the fourth line, yes.
I got Raff. Raff's, He's an Austrian little beast, man. He's got the strength. He plays a lot like Voracek. He's just not elite like Voracek. I think he just watching him come down the right side boards. I know we're talking left wing, but just watching that one play last year, him coming down the right side boards, pushing the defender off of him and just roofing the puck. That was what I feel like Raf is capable of contributing every game, but he doesn't always. And I think unlike other years where we had, I know Belmars was responsible and Van de Velde had his supporters and stuff, but I think our fourth line is going to be the biggest improvement from last year because we have that logjam of legitimate NHL talent now. And I think having Raf down there, it's not really a demotion because I think all four of our lines are really gonna produce this year. And I think Raf is going to be able to give that good big body shut down, like just help down there. And I think he'll give us that capability of scoring because I think Raf has it in him, but he doesn't always show it.
All right. So I like both points there. I like the Weiss aspect being there, but I'm going to have to go with Austin here. I think that Raffl's too good to keep out of the lineup, and I think there's one other guy, that's already like set in stone that, that we're going to have to put on that fourth line right wing because, you just can't sit the guy out. But I really like Raffl here because he adds that little aspect of scoring. And if he can get to that anywhere close to that I think it was his second year actually. No, it was first year. His first year actually, where he went off on, he just went on that scoring rampage. He wasn't getting a lot of assists, but he just went on that scoring rampage and had 22 goals. I really think that he can get back to that. I think he just needs to be put in the right situation, and he can become, that not that secondary scoring, but that third line scoring or that that the extra scoring that playoff teams get from unknown guys. So I'm gonna go with Raffl here. But let's get right to it. Let's get to that last position. Austin, who do you got on your fourth line right?
I think finally we feel the emergence of Scott Laughton. I think we give him a good chance here. We give him a legitimate chance where he doesn't have to really truly fear going down too hard. But going down to the AHL, I think we give him an extended period of time to really prove himself, and this is a prove-it year for him. So I think if he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it, and this is it. But I think you give him the chance to move up the lineup. You start him at 4, and you see how he goes. But at one point, Scott Laughton was our best forward prospect, and he really, truly, he had a lot of promise. So I think we give him a shot this year.
Okay. Eric, what do you got on that?
I think at the draft you saw it. Schenn was dealt for a first rounder and Jori Lehtera. I think they brought Lehtera in and packaged him with that deal for a reason. And the guy fits the bill for a fourth line guy. I wrote an article on it a few weeks ago. He was brought in with St. Louis because him and Tarasenko had such good chemistry together. And in the KHL, they played really well together, and he just never lived up to that hype. So it is a bit of a reclamation project. It's going to take a little bit of time, and in Hackstall's system, he's going to get healthy scratched. I think it's almost interchangeable. I think in the fourth line, you're going to see a lot of line combinations. I think Reed also. Laughton will crack the lineup eventually. I think Laughton has an immense amount of talent, but he just never found his niche with that team. But right now, I think it's Lehtera. He's a big guy. He gets to those dirty areas, digs the puck. He's going to be that guy He's going to be that guy with Vecchione and Weiss, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with both of you. I understand both of you. I really just think, that the whole situation, like you said, Derek, that the reason why they got Lehtera was to be on this team. And I see him – I didn't really see him where he could fit in on this team when they first got him, and I really thought he was just a throw-in. But, from listening to Hextall and Hackstall, over the last, month and a half since the draft, it's just an understanding that this guy's going to be on the team and he's going to help the team in more ways than none. And, I think they really got it for when we get into the power play and the penalty kill. I think that's why they really got him. But I really like he has to be in the lineup to be on those things. So I am going to agree with you, and I am going to put him there. I understand, Austin, that, Laughton is there. But, it's like, the whole entire concept of, like the Jordan Wheel situation. Yes, Laughton performed very, very well at the end of the season for the Phantoms, and he was that prototypical two-way guy that they wanted him to turn into. But he hasn't got that chance to show yet in the NHL, but when he's been in the NHL, he has been non-existent. And I think that's the problem that the Flyers see with him, that, this guy, he was a first-round draft pick. He was a middle first-round draft pick in a weak draft. So, I mean, he wasn't like a high first-round draft pick for losing. But, he could turn into just like a not really like I wouldn't say valuable, but just like an interchangeable, extra forward or a fourth line guy someday. And, you can just chalk it up as a miss on the Flyers' behalf. But, it's a situation that, will be resolved. And I really think that he's going to be one of the extra forwards this year on the Flyers. So without that further ado, we have our lines set in stone. Let's get into the D pairings. I know this is going to be a little hard because there is so many young guys waiting in the farm, and we are going to now, I guess, let's get into the first line of the D pairing. We're not just going to do it by solo. We're going to do a D pairing. So I want your first line D pairing. Let's start with you there.
I think it stays the same as last year. I think that you're going to see another line of Andrew McDonald and Ivan Provorov. Another article I wrote was on McDonald, and I think that it's not necessarily detrimental that a guy like Provorov will learn from McDonald. McDonald has the skill. He's a good defenseman. He's a solid defenseman, but he just, when they brought him in, there was very high expectations for him, and he just hasn't lived up to them. But the thing is, you're seeing there last year, as opposed to the years prior, he's had a little bit of a resurgence, and he's put up better numbers. I think that when they sent him back down to Lehigh Valley, it kind of was a wake-up call and was like, hey, you're in the bigs now. You're not just going to skate by on your name. You need to earn this spot, especially with the pace that these youngsters are coming up through in the Flyers farm system. McDonald, I think, understands that, and playing with Provorov could be a rejuvenator for him.
All right. I agree with you there. Let's get to Austin. Who do you got as your first line pairing?
I actually got the same pair. I think Andrew McDonald, the money he makes, he has to be on this team. And he is not an incapable player, but he has been so, at times, really, really hard to watch. He's good at shot blocking. He showed that last year. He kind of stepped his game up a bit. But I think you put him with Prov because, I mean, people were scared that he was going to affect Prov's development. Nobody's affecting Prov's development. Prov is an elite defender. He's going to be our number one guy for a long, long time. I think Prov and Patrick have a, and I think that's for me, that's an easy first pairing.
Yeah, I agree with you guys both there. But I really could see if something does dramatically change that, I like a Sanheim and a Provorov pairing down the line. I just wrote about it in the Shea Weber trade that these two guys can become a great 1-2 down the line. But the guy I really would like to see him pair with one day is Philip Myers. Philip Myers is just that big, that needs to be with the little guy. I think we can all say on the next pairing we can all agree with. But I would love to see a Provorov Myers one day because that is just, these two guys are like peas in a pod. They go together perfectly. They complement each other in so many different ways. But I like the McDonald Provorov ideal line here because they played together all last year, so they know each other. That's one thing, so that builds a great chemistry there. But they also, they know how to play the game very well. So now let's get into second line pairing. Austin, let's go.
Second line pairing, I have Marin and I have Ghost. Easy, because I think Marin is a good stay-at-home guy. I think that's obviously a little bit of an obvious pair, but I think Marin's a big stay-at-home guy that can just let Ghost play Ghost's game, because Ghost kind of had to get away from his game last year. He didn't always have the support coming back. He always had to think defensively. He always had to second-guess everything in that first season. That's the thing. So I think Marin really gives him that freedom. After Marin gets his feet wet and gets a little more comfortable in here, I think Marin's a solid stay-at-home, big body guy. And, I mean, he's pretty much the polar opposite of Ghost. And on defensive pairings, I think if you guys are polar opposites, that's the perfect pairing.
All right. I agree with you there. Let's go, Derek.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, honestly. You've got a guy in Samuel Morton who is ready. The kid is ready to play at the NHL level. His game against New Jersey this past year, he led both teams with 7 hits. The guy is 6'7", I think 220. We haven't had a defenseman that knows how to clear the crease since Chris Pronger. And this, honestly, in my opinion, is the second coming. It sounds a little dramatic, but I mean, he fits the bill. The size, the snarl, he's got the attitude. I mean, the Broad Street bully attitude that, we've almost lacked for so long. Going to put points. He's not flashy, but he's going to, like you said, Austin, give Gostisbehere the freedom to be able to do what he does best, and that's set plays up and finish them. I mean, Gostisbehere's wrister from the point is incredible. I mean, it's a rocket. The kid can shoot. Morin's going to give him that opportunity, and you're going to see more pucks go in the back of the net this year coming up. You're not going to see the Flyers at the bottom of the bin with as opposed to scoring. They're going to put some pucks in the net, and that's going to be a main contributor to that.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with you. And like you said there, that they're going to put a lot of pucks in the back of the net. Like at the beginning of the season last year, the Flyers defensemen were leading the league because they were having such a great year up until the fact that they hit that big slide. But the defensemen were contributing so much, and that's why the Flyers really stayed in a lot of those games early in the season, was all because of their defense core. And I think everybody's wrote about this, and I think everybody said about this, and I think this is the top 4 that the Flyers have right now. And there's a lot of potential there. That if there's one other guy that can be put on with Provorov, the oldest guy is going to be Shane Gostisbehere, and Shane Gostisbehere is 23 years old. So I mean, you could be looking at a top 4 defense pairing for the next 10 years of young guys that are on low end contracts. Like next year, you're going to be able to look at maybe Provorov signs a low end deal, but Ghost signed a low end deal this year. A real big steal, a 6-year deal. All the other defensive contracts that were, signed this offseason. So that's a great pairing to be put together. It just hopefully they complement each other in a great way that, Ghost can go back to that way from that rookie season. And Morin is that, can protect him. Kind of like when you saw that Matt Carl situation. That's why Matt Carl was that good, because he had a guy that could help him and stay back with him in Pronger. And then he went to Coburn. So, I mean, they're defensive guy that can stay with a defensive guy. That's a great pairing to have on your team. And I really think these two complement each other in a way, and I think that's a great pairing going into the season. Last pairing, and then we'll, get into a little bit of special teams, and then we'll wrap it up tonight. Let's start with Derek. Who do you got on your third line?
Third line, I'm almost 90% sure of this, but I'm a little hesitant because I've got Gudas and I've got Robert Hagg. And like Morin last year had that one game to kind of prove where he belonged, and I think that he showed that he belongs in this league. He's paid his dues down in the AHL. He's another decently sized body. Not the kind of guy like Morin, you're not going to expect him to clear the crease, but for a third-line pairing, it's not bad at all. I'm hesitant, and I would love to put Sanheim in there, but you got to think, too, we are very heavy on left-handed shots on the blue line. Gudas is our only right-handed shot. So don't be surprised if you see a guy like Phil Myers creep into that top 6. He's a right-handed shot. It might mix up the pairings a little bit because the top 2 lines that we've just discussed and all agreed on, they're all left-handed shots. So it's, I mean, it's tough to gauge that. But at the same time, right now, I'm pretty sure that the way the season starts out is going to be Gudas and Hagg on that third line. Third pairing,
right.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Austin.
All right, on that third line, I have a solid choice, Gudas. I think Gudas is an actually good player. I know he was essentially a throw-in when we got him, but I think he's absolutely proven himself as a good, gritty. He serves a purpose that you absolutely need him to serve. As for the second side, I personally have Sanheim. I know a lot of people have Hagg. I know a lot of people have Manning. I know a lot of people have Meyer be coming up, but I think I have Sanheim. I think I'm most excited about him. I mean, obviously everybody's excited about Myers, but I think he needs a little bit more. He doesn't necessarily need a little bit more, but there's only one spot, and I think I give that to Sanheim. I think we've talked about him for so long, and he's just that guy, and he's been that guy. You know, we drafted him high. He's always shown that he had the talent, and I think we give him that shot. I think obviously it could be some interchangeable pieces. I think everybody's going to get a little bit of a shot if somebody lags behind. Or, I mean, we're talking about Hackstall. Somebody's going to get set, and somebody's going to get brought up. You never know. So I think I have Sanheim there.
All right, yeah. I like that. I like the pairings that you guys both brought up. Nothing against Brandon Manning. We all agree that. Brandon Manning, you know, he fought his way onto this team. You know, he was an undrafted guy that, you know, stuck with the team through thick and thin. You know, he went the route of, you know, he was an undrafted guy. He signed with the Phantoms, and then, you know, he got that NHL contract when he did when he had a great 2 seasons with the Phantoms when they were still in Adirondack. And then, you know, he just came up and he built a resume for himself that, you know, he's a solid guy that you can put into the lineup at any given night. And I think he's a very solid and great 7th defenseman, and he knows his role. He knows how to play his role. And everybody knows, you know, he did break somebody's collarbones, so that's actually a good compliment too to him. But, you know, he's just that guy, you know, that can go in and put on any single one of those D pairings at any given night, and he can be, you know, it'll be the same pairing, the same chemistry. So I think Manning is going to be that 7th guy. But I'm going to have to agree here with Derek. I don't think Sanheim is ready yet. What the Flyers are building, you look at Hag. This was Hag's 3rd season with the Phantoms. This was Morin's 2nd season with the Phantoms. Sanheim and Myers were both rookies last year, and Myers wasn't even really a rookie. Myers came in at the end. So when you look at that, it's the Flyers are letting people develop. And I really think they need that little bit of seasoning because, yes, there is a big schedule in the but it's not to the physicality of that. Like, the junior leagues average about, like, 66 games a year. Lehigh Valley played almost 98 games last year because they went to the playoffs. Yeah, they had an early exit because of injuries, and I really think they had made a mistake last year. I think they should have let Carter Hart play when he was down there. But, you know, I think that they need the seasoning of a long season with the team, and I really think that's why Sanheim and Myers are going to be on the Phantoms next year. And I really like that line. I really like that 3rd pairing of Gudas and Hag. They just complement each other. That's going to be that first line pairing that's always out there at crunch time. That, you know, they can get the job done. They can move the puck around. You know, they can protect the net. So I really like that. So we have everything done. We have our 18 players that are going to play every single night that are going to be on the open night roster. Let's just discuss these 2 goalies really fast. All I want is just a simple explanation. Who do you got starting night 1? Let's start with Austin.
I have Brian Elliott. I think Brian Elliott has shown that he is truly elite. I don't think for me, it's not really a conversation. I know a lot of people have a lot of faith in Neuvirth. They really thought he was the better guy. I've always been a Mason supporter, so through that, I always believed that Mason was truly had the starting talent. I know Neuvirth was hot at times and stuff, but I think Brian Elliott really he showed his true capabilities in a couple seasons ago in St. Louis, and I know he struggled, and inconsistency is. It's hard for a lot of different players. I mean, in Philly, we know. I mean, we dealt with Mason for a long time. He's the same kind of player. He goes through hot and cold streaks, but I think as far as talent goes, I give that to Elliott.
All right.
I think I agree. My heart says Elliott. My gut says Neuvirth, just because for some odd reason, I think that Hackstall and Hextall both have just this weird tie that they want Neuvirth. And honestly, I miss Mason. I mean, you're right. He's hot and he's cold, but he was never really given the chance to be the true number 1 goalie that I think he could be, because there's always somebody breathing down his neck. There was always a guy like Neuvirth who it was a platoon system, and he just didn't thrive in it. Whereas now when you bring in a guy like Brian Elliott, he has proven that he can thrive in a platoon-type system. He proved it with St. Louis. Calgary was a little iffy, but I think this is his chance to come back and say, hey, I can play. And I think that Neuwirth, you know his injury history. He's going to get hurt. He'll get hurt. He'll be out for a few games, and that's going to be Elliott's chance to shine and show Philadelphia that, hey, I can stop him. And I think that I would love to see Elliott in net for the first game of this season.
So to that, Derek, what you're saying about that he is the possibility of getting hurt, I want to get your guys' aspect on this battle that's going on in Lehigh Valley right now. Who's the first call-up? Who's the first call-up coming up in net between Stolarz and Alex Lyon? Who do you have coming up when that first goalie goes down?
I've been passionate about this because I've been such a huge fan and follower. I'm a total fanboy when it comes to Anthony Stolarz. I'll admit it right now. The guy, when they drafted him, he's the size of a guy like Ben Bishop. He's going to take up that net. I think he belongs there. I really wish that they would have given him behind Neuwirth. And it's a shame to see that they didn't. But at the same time, too, you know Hextall's system. You know he likes to keep those guys down until he thinks they're absolutely ready. It hasn't failed us yet. He's brought up a guy like Gostisbehere, and Gostisbehere proved that he was ready at that time. Brought up Konechny, brought up Provorov. They proved that they belong in the NHL. If they'd have brought him up and really hindered their development, I think when the time is right, be the starter. Depending on when a guy like Sandstrom, when a guy like Hart develops and comes up too, though. But this year, speaking, when Neuwirth gets hurt, and yes, when Neuwirth gets hurt, you'll see Stolarz either back up Elliott or take a game or two from him. And I think he'll continue the trend of numbers that he's put up. He did really well last year in relief, and I think that he can continue that, and he's proved it, so you'll see it here.
Yeah. Austin, who do you got coming up first?
Between Stoli and Leon, I think I got to go with Leon just because, not just for the sake of argument, but I think Stoli, I still think he has Drew and Ben Bishop, and I think the whole way through that he's been in this organization, I feel on that same comparison. And I thought at one point he truly could take the reins in Philly. But I think with the fact that we stockpiled all these goalies, I think Alex Leon, I think they're looking more that he hopefully backs up Carter Hartlander, and I think they give him a fair shot. They just basically showcase, give him a taste of the NHL because he's not ready, but I think he will be ready soon. And I think he's him and Carter Hart are the two goalies that I personally have in the cornerstones in this franchise of the future. So I think for me, you bring out that because he didn't have plans, and truly, just with the signs that I've seen, I don't think Stoli is anymore, unfortunately.
I can agree with both of you there. I really think that, there is that, Stolarz was really good. I think he's 3-1 in career games in the NHL, and he's got like a really good save percentage. He's got a really good goals against. But at the end of the year last year really hurt him. Not being able to show that whole entire, the aspect of him at the Phantoms performing on a level for, the playoffs down there, and, not having that opportunity to be down there for that playoff run. I really think that kind of hurt him in a way that we really see in some type of situations because that's valuable information, and that's valuable mindset that you can pick up on. You don't get to go to the playoffs every year. Sometimes you get a long streak that you are, but for a goalie, you don't get to play in the playoffs every year unless you're the number one guy. And the valuable experience that he could have got from playing in a playoff series, I really truly think if not both of them didn't get hurt last year, I think they would have made it to at least the next round of the Calder Cup playoffs. But, that's a whole different situation. But I agree with you. Either one could come up, and either one's going to, be a great stopgap for, the kids of the future. But let's just do it really fast. I like everything that we're going on here. We're we're catching up on a good time frame here. Let's just get straight into it. We're just going to go straight through. I just want to get a penalty kill from each one of you, a power play from each one of you. Right there. I like how this is going. I like this. So, Derek, hit me first. Give me a nice penalty kill unit that you see the Flyers having this year.
To tell you the truth, I haven't thought much about it, but going off of kind of what last year is, the penalty kill, Giroux is going to be your center. I really do think. I think that Giroux and Simmons will be the penalty killers. On the defensive side, I could see them potentially sliding a guy like Morin into that role because he's the crease clearer. He's going to be the guy that's going to sit there in front of Elliott and just sweep the porch clean. He's not going to let people camp out like in years past. And then I think the other defenseman you've got to put with him, why not give it a try? Give Provorov a shot. I think that he's capable of getting a stick on that puck and getting it out of the zone. For a kid his age, he makes great decisions. And I think that him and Morin together, along with Giroux and Simmons as the top penalty kill, would be a pretty successful penalty kill.
I like it. I like it. Austin?
All right, for the forwards, I have Simmons because I think when we tried him out last year, I think it was really he surprised me. I think he was a lot more responsible than I thought he was going to be, and I think he did a great job. And I have Phillips because I think the biggest upside when we brought up Valtteri Filppula, his biggest upside was his penalty killing. He is just he's a very good penalty killer, and with the loss of PEB, we need somebody like that. So I think they're my forwards, and then I agree with you on the Morin. I think he's got the makings of a good penalty killer. He can clear that crease. He's responsible. He's a comeback guy. He's just going to always be thinking about coming back. He's not going to be trying to make some flashy play. He's not going to be irresponsible. And then on the other side, I think I have Andrew McDonald. He's a good shot blocker, and he needs a role. So give him a role. I think I got Andrew McDonald and Morin on the back end there.
I can agree with you both. I see all of them there. But I really see this year as the turning point. Now, I couldn't say real turning point because, the two guys that I have on the second unit are going to be either the free agent at the end of the year. And, I think I really see either one of them coming back next year. Maybe one if they need to sign somebody because the Flyers are really light on forward depth right now. But when you look at it, I could really see a great concept of Drew only being out there for face-off situations only. It really saves him, his energy, him not getting hurt or anything like that. And, it really turns the table that, Sean Couturier is going to be that guy, penalty kill leader. It's going to be Sean Couturier and Wayne Simmons on that first unit. And then I like the second unit of Filppula and Laterra because these two guys know each other. And that's what you need. You need a cohesion unit that, if one guy is thinking one thing, the other guy's got to be thinking the same thing. And I really like that situation that those two guys, they're from the same country. They played, I don't know how many games together in world competition. And I really like that pairing. For the DYs, I really could see, I like what you guys are talking about with Morin. Morin is a guy that, can step in and be that guy. I don't really see him, though, being with Provorov McDonald. I really like to see him with Gudas. And the reason for that is Provorov and McDonald are going to be the number one pairing, and they're going to be out there no matter what. They're going to be together. They're not going to split them up. The only way they get split up if the penalty happens and they're in the box. But I really like Provorov and McDonald and then Gudas and Morin. Everybody likes that. They're all shot blockers. They all know how to clear the net. They all know how to be physical in front of the net. They're not going to get pushed around. But I like that. So the last thing we're going to get to tonight is we're going to get to the power play. Let's start with Austin. Austin, give me your best power play unit you got.
My best power play unit, mine's real simple. It's the same as last year, except you slot in Konechny for Brayden Schenn. You mentioned it earlier. Konechny and Brayden Schenn share a lot of the same traits. I see Konechny as a kind of a mixture between Giroux and Schenn. And Schenn, I was really upset to see Schenn leave. He's been my favorite Flyer since he was here. And I was definitely upset to see him. But, I mean, it's nice to have Konechny there. And I think that's going to be a really, really, really almost maybe more productive line.
Okay. Derek?
I think you're gonna see Giroux center the power play, no matter what. Giroux's your top guy, so you stick with that. I think for Schenn, I think where we disagreed on and we flip flopped with Konechny and Wheel, and I took Konechny when we were talking lines. I'm gonna take Wheel here. I think that Wheel's the guy. I mean, he's gonna put pucks in the net too. He's the kind of guy you would want on the power play, and I think that seeing Schenn's success last year, he was just lethal on the power play. I think Wheel could fill that role, honestly. I think Wheel has the talent. I think given the right opportunity to succeed, which this would be it, he could be the guy. So, I mean, you're talking Giroux, Voracek, Wheel. If you're going to go one more forward, I would say you're going to look at a guy maybe like Filppula, because he's going to be the guy to dish it to you. Filppula or Couturier, because Couturier is a big body too. You could put him in front of the net, or really you can't go wrong with a lot of these people. Simmons will stand in front of the net. But I think the top line will definitely be Giroux, Voracek, and Wheel along with Filppula, and then defenseman-wise, it's got to be Gostisbehere because he's the most offensive-minded defenseman you've got, and he's, like I said, wicked wrister. He's find those slots to just he'll find those open spots. And he's got great vision for the blue line. He'll find the open player. He'll make things happen. He's a playmaker. That's my power play.
Perfect. Yeah, and I really think that that they just need that one guy to step in to take the spot of Brayden Schenn, or you just change it up a little bit and you just change everything up because that second line is going to have a new rejuvenating force in there. It's not going to be Couturier. It's going to be Patrick. It's going to be Lindbaum. You're gaining a lot of similarities to that first unit. Like Patrick's going to be the Giroux. Lindbaum's going to be the Simmons. The type of players that you're going to get two similar, very very similar situations inside of their power play unit. And, I really see both units going this year to the one defenseman system. Last year, that two defensive system was a lot on the second unit. It was mainly like Provorov, who had a good statement there. It was him and Delzato at some points. McDonald crept in there a couple times. It's just they got to get that situation that I don't think they need two different power play units. I think they need two of the exact same units that have two similar concepts, except just there's two different thinkings. Like Drew's always looking for a pass first situation. I don't think Patrick's going to be looking for that. I think Patrick's going to try to come out and say this year that he should have been the #1 overall pick, even though for all this injury history and everything. And I think he wants to show that, and I think he's going to be a menace on the goal scoring aspect. So I think that's a big situation difference. And then you got Lindbaum. Lindbaum and Simmons are probably the same exact person. They're both going to be gritty, and they're both going to be, in front of the net. But, I like what we got here. I'm going to share the page really fast. And I'm going to show – let's see, where are we at? So this is what we came up with. This is going to be what we believe your 2017-18 Flyers starting lineup will be on opening night. And, is what we're gonna think. We're gonna see Wheel, Giroux, and Voracek up on that first line. Then Patrick, Simmons, and Lindbaum, on the second line. Nice secondary line there. Third line, we're gonna have Konechny, Couturier, and Filppula. A guy that can feed and a guy that can protect. A very speedy winger that loves to get in the offensive zone. And then that fourth line, is supposed to be a checking line, but that's a good offensive line, a good solid line in Raffl, Vecchione, and Laterra. And, the two extra forwards in Reed and Weiss, either one of those guys can step in any situation. And we have so many centers that you don't really have to carry an extra center as your extra forward, because any center in Filppula, in Raffl played a little bit of center last year. Laterra plays a little bit of center. You got a lot of centers on this team that, that can jump in case something does happen. And then when you go to the defense, the defense looks very similar to last year. Ghost played with I would say, multiple different guys this year, mainly Manning or mainly Delzato. But, that's the type of situation that they got. These young guys just got to get a pairing that they can stick with, build on. And then you have the problem is who doesn't make the lineup? Who do you have to get rid of? And who can you get rid of to get something else to help on the forward side? Because the forward side is a little weak right now in the Flyers. But, it's a very solid team. It's a very okay aspect. And, I like what we're looking at here. And, it's very good. It's very good. It's a very good thing that we just came up with. The last thing I'm going to ask, I don't want a definite record. I just want to know, where are we going to be sitting? I'm going to start with you, Austin. Where do you see the Flyers sitting? Do you see them sitting, do they make the playoffs in the division, or they don't make the playoffs? I mean, it's possible. Where do you think we are right now?
I think hopeful Austin wants to say we're the second or third seed in the Metro, but I think realistically we are the first wild card. I think we're the first wild card, and I think we have a fair shot to go, because I could see somebody in the Atlantic really pulling it out and being the top point getter in the East, and I think we could have a, not an easy march, but I don't know, maybe if we fall, even if it's wild card 2, I think if we can march through the Atlantic, I think we have a fair shot to do it. But I say wild card 1 is my pick.
Okay, Derek, where do you got us at?
It's tough, man. There's a lot of unknowns. I mean, you're going into a season right now where you're probably going to have at the least 2 new people on the blue line. You're going to have Lindblom and Vecchione and Latte. You've got a lot of new people that aren't used to the Flyer system. If I had to take a guess, I'd say if they do make it, they barely make it. They make it like they made it back in 2010 when it came down to a shootout in the last game of the season against the Rangers. Still to this day, one of my favorite Flyer moments. But it's going to be a difficult road. It's going to be a very difficult road because the Metropolitan Division is a very tough division. You've got the President's Trophy winner, I believe 2 years in a row in Washington. Just 2 years in a row Stanley Cup champs, Pittsburgh Penguins, who you got the Islanders. Everybody's getting better. It's not like, we're getting better and everybody else is standing pat. They're building. They're getting better and better and better. The Penguins farm system that used to be in shambles look at it. It just produced 2 Stanley Cups. I think that we definitely can contend. I do. Great experience for these young guys, but I think that this year we might just miss it. And by just miss it, I mean I do hate to say that. I do hate saying that we would miss it, but I think we miss it.
I can totally agree with you. There's a lot of teams that, got better, and there's a lot of teams that maybe hurt themselves, maybe not. And there's a lot of teams that didn't really do anything that, that couldn't change. And, I've said this multiple times in multiple articles that, when you look at the Metro is probably the best opportunity for the Flyers to make the playoffs because the Atlantic Division got really, really good over these last few years. And when you look at the Metro over the last, since I guess you would say the culmination of the new playoff system, the average point getters to get into the playoffs, the first year, that was the year that the Flyers made it as a divisional seed, we had 96 points, and we were the 3rd seed. The last 4 years, the average for that 3rd seed has been 104 points. That's a big number to get to in the NHL today when you have all these different teams that are, that are very valuable and play a great game. And that's a big situation that when you look at it, the Flyers, that means they got to get over 40 wins, and they got to get close to 45, almost to 50 wins to get to that point. Do I see that happening? I really do not. I really don't think the Flyers have that in them to get to that number. I think they could get to the mid-40s, maybe a little bit below that, like 42, 43 wins. I really see that. I really think they're going to break the 40-win barrier. But I kind of agree with Austin. I see him as a wild card team. I see him maybe as, like you said, Derek, maybe a late run that gets him into the second wild card. I really don't see him as that first wild card. I think there's way too many good teams in the Atlantic not to name a few. I think Ottawa, Montreal, Boston got really good over the winter. Tampa Bay is very streaky team. There's teams in the Atlantic that can beat the Flyers. And then you have to focus on who do the Flyers beat in the Metro to get in the divisional round. And it's a very good competition the Flyers to be in, because coming down the stretch, you want to be playing in tough games, and you want to be able to that tough atmosphere, because that gets you ready for the playoffs. And you really saw that when the 2010 run happened, because the Flyers were playing for their lives every night, and they got into 7th seed. And, that last game, it came down to the last game. And that mentality played out starting in the middle to the end of the season. And then, it worked out to where the Flyers had that big run. But I think I agree with you. I mean, I could agree with Derek that, it could be, hit or miss. We do miss the playoffs just right at the end. Or, we do make it right at the end. Or, they surprise us all and we have a hell of a season, and it's, we don't even have to worry about it. We're at the trade deadline and we're looking at who we can get on this team to make our team better down for a stretch run. So, I mean, I love how this went tonight. I'm hoping that maybe down the line we can get Jamie in here, and we can get a whole new aspect. Maybe watch a game on here or something like that, get a little comment session going. But thank you for the Philly Sports Network crowd that tuned out tonight. We had a good atmosphere going on here. We had a good viewing point. I like the views that were going from it, just like our normal Facebook Live. We're still going to have a Facebook Live this week. It is going to be on Wednesday. Jamie's going to host it at 8 o'clock, the usual time on Wednesday night on the Facebook page. But that, everybody gets to meet Austin and Derek. So, I mean, everybody gets to see their faces finally. They get to hear the voice behind the face. And like I said, we're an up-and-coming website. We're going to bring a whole different dynamic to the season this year. We're going to have a lot of good pieces, and we're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So, again, another great night, another great session. And does anybody want to say anything else? Are we good to go?
Good. Thanks for everything, man. Let's go Flyers.
All right. Like I said, every night. Good night. Good hockey, guys. Have a nice night, guys.